And we're live.
We're live.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's been a
it's
while.
been quite a while. It's like, you know, I mean, I make little videos every now and then, 3 or 4 minute shorts and before we head to work. But, it's kind of like I feel that the times that we're living in clips the wings of those individuals that like to speak truth. I find it very hard to accept where we as a
Tilt this down.
country where we as a country are heading, and I left a communist country when I was 5 years old, to come to the land of the free, the home of the brave. And it doesn't feel like we're living in a free, brave country.
Yeah, it's different.
Very different, and for creators, for people that like to voice their opinion, this feels very much like you have a muzzle on your face.
Yeah, it's like
Pun intended.
you can't really say much these days without repercussions of, deplatforming or being called out for misinformation or things
Yeah.
that, I mean, there used to be a day when you could just debate things, sit down at a table with reasonable minds
Mhm.
and
Inquisitive
talk
minds.
about
Yeah.
things, right? And this goes back to the times of the ancients, like the
Hmm.
Greeks, Mars Hill, and where people would actually get together and they would have debates, and someone would be given the floor and they could talk
Hmm.
and stand there and speak and respectfully, other people could rebut what they're having to say and things when their turn came up to talk and stuff.
Hmm.
And it just isn't the same anymore. It's like you can't even speak.
Yeah. And it's a world that is full of hostility. People no longer see eye to eye anymore. And I don't want to say it scares me because not too many things scare me, but it saddens me. It saddens me greatly that people don't see what's taking place.
Yeah, we just watched a couple on YouTube that we've been following for years now. They're a couple from Italy, and they um, are going through, with a pregnancy right now, and she just got COVID. Whoops, I just said something that I shouldn't have said.
You should have
Um,
said she got what most people are getting, but
yeah, see,
yeah,
again, I don't know if this video is going to make it because I said
yeah,
that thing again. And, you know, and she's very concerned about the health of the child. And, yeah, but they're doing things that are in our minds, are counterproductive to the health and safety of the child,
mhm.
um, which is, going through with another jab, and, it's,
Yeah. It's crazy because I mean I've been in the medical field for years, and you know I learned very quickly that the medical institution doesn't really care much about those that they're taking care of. It's more about the profit, and that's what these big hospitals and everything really care about. And when you got money involved, then and you got corrupt individuals that are trying to alter the story and change things to fit their narrative and control,
yeah,
people, you're going to see all sorts of stuff. And it really sad to see the lack of umph, and cojones that people have in the world, and they just very easily give up their freedom for their quote unquote safety. And if you really think deep and think hard, of what human beings have gone throughout history, we wouldn't be here today if people would have cowered it the way that people are cowarding now.
well, our ancestors were tough, they
Yep.
were strong. That's why you are here. That's why I am here. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Because we had, you know, ancestors who fought, who did whatever they could to survive. They didn't just kowtow to every authority and do whatever was being told of them. They, they kind of bucked the system,
Yeah.
and they did what they needed to do
To survive.
to survive.
Yeah.
Because not too long ago, we lived in a world where the outside elements were dangerous. Our ancestors didn't live in air conditioned buildings, and they didn't live with the modern conveniences of electricity and gas and heat and all the things that we enjoy these days, and the wonders of a supermarket
Yeah.
just down the street, and cars. And we are not too far removed from a more primitive type of a lifestyle.
And it won't take much. It really won't take much. We were watching something yesterday, a movie called The Colony or something like that. And, I was just thinking to myself, we don't realize how lucky, how privileged we are,
Yeah.
of all the modern commodities that we have that could be taken away from us in a heartbeat.
Just like
with these weather conditions that we're seeing, with just people losing their minds, literally losing their health, even though they're doing what the status quo is asking them to do to stay quote unquote healthy, which, medical intervention is not what's going to keep you healthy. Eating right, having the right frame of mind, exercising, meditating, and doing all sorts of health care for yourself. That's what's going to keep you healthy. But we're seeing people get even sicker by doing the things that they're told to do. And then those people that are pointing fingers at those of us that refuse to do those things, um, you all are going to be in for a massive rude awakening. And it saddens me. It really does, because I can't believe that we are where we are today. I really can't. It's mind blowing to me, but we're seeing the little battles and the fights amongst people and the Twitter and the this and the that, and people being canceled and people being blocked and people having their channels removed and their Twitter accounts removed, all because they can't stand a voice of reason, and they're listening to the quote unquote voice that they feel is the right voice. And I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as not that I'm not shocked, but I just don't get the same reaction as you, in the sense of like the urgency of, and the feeling of how things have gone downhill. I mean, I'm not really, I don't feel it like you do, but I mean, I can respect your feelings, about how you feel about it. But you've been kind of on this bandwagon since before it was even a thing.
So when you say you don't like what you read today to me this morning about a doctor who's been a doctor for 41 years, and they removed her license, and she has to undergo a mental test because somebody reported her as a dangerous doctor because she's not promoting the status quo, and all the different things that you see are taking place. What do you mean, like you don't?
No, it just doesn't. I don't want to, in my own personal human, want to like be so involved with what it all entails and stuff.
Wow.
I'm not like a ostrich with the head in the ground, but it's like, yeah, I know things are happening, but
Right.
I'm not one to be so up in arms about it.
Well, I mean, I'm not up in arms. I mean, I'm just like really
No, but
saddened and
see,
perturbed.
what you have been is you've always been, since 2008,
Right.
thinking about these things.
Yeah, because I saw it coming before
Right.
it came.
And that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not discounting you or anything. I'm just saying that's been kind of like something that's been of concern for you, that you've even written songs about it and talked about it and everything. And I haven't.
I wrote an album called Enslaved, because it's like it was very clear to me since 2007, 2008, where we were heading. And everybody kind of like called me a conspiracy nut back then. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. But I don't think that people would call me that today, seeing what we are seeing unfold right before our very eyes.
I just like to think that things take a necessarily negative turn in order for things to become right in the world.
Oh,
You know
no
what I
doubt,
mean?
no
I just
doubt.
think this is just what has to take place. You know, things of this nature have to come about in order to bring about the change that, you know, I mean, it's always darkest right before the sun comes up. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's a good way of looking at it. And I do believe that things happen to wake people up, things happen to create a change. Who was it that said, I don't know, it was Jordan Peterson or somebody we were listening to, that things happen in order when there's a shift going to take place in human development. That these so-called V's, these pandemics always happen when the human race is up for an upgrade, a change in their consciousness, change in their, these people right now, I mean, just a lot of very spoiled, rotten individuals that are used to having whatever they want, however they want. They've never done without. They don't know what, people that lived back in World War One, World War Two, and all these eras that we lived in that, you know, people didn't have the commodities that they have now. So it's almost like, you know, karmatic or something of that sort that comes to change or like shake humanity up.
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the things that I heard recently was that we actually signed up to come to this party back when, you know, in order to have front seat um, viewing for this amazing time in our history where 7 billion people are alive on this planet right now, and that we're all here to witness something that's going to take place that's going to be um, pretty consequential to the future of not just this planet, but, you know, other, you know,
yeah,
life on other planets
on other
and galaxies,
and yeah,
that we're that this Earth could literally be the pulsing heart chakra of the universe. You know, that's exciting to think that, you know, that we're here on this planet to help restore the heart of this planet, of this Earth. You know, that we're all part of this organism called Earth, and that we're here to help it.
yeah. It's just, when you look at human nature and where human nature has, it's disheartening. It's kind of sad to see how people are battling against one another, are snitching, trying to destroy people's livelihood. I mean, that thing they did to that doctor, a woman who's been a doctor for 41 years, who's got a family, I'm sure, who's depending on her, and some individual decided to report her because they don't like her politics, they don't like what she's saying. And, there's always two opinions and two sides, and no one has the right to shut somebody down or shut somebody up because you don't like what the person's saying. You don't like what that person represents.
And again, it goes back to the debating, you know, history that we have on this planet where people were able to, you know, make their case, you know, and have a good, honest discussion of ideas. And that if you didn't agree with an idea, it wasn't that it was necessarily going to be rated as being toxic
Dangerous.
or dangerous. That it was just different. You know, it's like You feel that way? Okay, great. And that other person feels that way? That's great, but there can be mutual respect
Mm-hmm.
in each other and understanding that the commonalities that we have is that we are all humans and that we're all on this planet and that we're all trying to do the right thing, and that would be what's been lost is that, that sense of understanding that we're here to work together, not to divide into these fractionalized tribal groups that oppose each other and are constantly fighting against each other. Like, what happened here in the United States just a year ago with the elections and everything. It's just how things are deeply, deeply divided in this country specifically, where people are still like upset about who's in the White House and who's not, and what happened and what didn't happen,
And
and
group fights, individual groups that feel that their plight is more important than somebody else's plight. And if you say something to ruffle feathers, then you become public enemy number one. And people need to respect people's views and opinions. You may not agree with them, you may not like them, but they're somebody else's views, and that's okay. I mean, we can't allow tyranny to take place. We can't allow a group of people to dominate what people can and cannot say, because then our freedoms will be removed, and they already have been removed. I mean, this platform, when I first had a YouTube channel back in 2006, was a very different platform to what it is today.
right. It was a broad understanding that people could come on here and talk, and they could actually give an opinion, not be hounded about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't like their opinion, you could just change the channel, right? You could just go to a different YouTuber that was giving you the
whatever
entertainment or the conversation that you want to have. Like, it was like a free network of a lot of individuals with varying different political spectrum beliefs, spirituality, non-beliefs, and different people, right, that were able to use this medium as a place to gather like minds.
Right. Now you got the mob mentality where people just, and I see it like with Jordan Peterson, and I see it with a lot of other people, that they get this bunch of angry mobs. It's almost like a witch hunt, and people cannot accept different views, and they call people's views dangerous. Well, the mob mentality is what's dangerous. The fact that people are being silenced, that's dangerous. The fact that we're not allowed to have our autonomy with our own health, that's dangerous. But it's really
losing the freedom to assemble and to gather in groups, all because something was floating in the air that came across the world in a massive way, and they didn't think anything about the ramifications of what would happen if we quarantined the whole planet, and we quarantined people and we made them disconnect from each other even further. Mm-hmm. If we made them, less capable of getting together with loved ones, when loved ones who got afflicted were never able to say goodbye to their loved one. It just, and all the ramifications, all the suicide that went skyrocket among all the different groups of people, the rash of like violence that has plagued the world now, because people together, there's been a lot more abuse situations, there's been a lot more depression. I mean, it's just,
and people are not,
nobody's thinking about the ramifications.
People are not being allowed to have their immune system kick in. That's what we have an immune system for. If you aren't taking care of yourself, if you are putting on the pounds and becoming obese, you will put yourself in more danger. So see, they're not picking on that. They're not telling people, hey, eat healthier, exercise, lose 50 pounds, lose 100 pounds. You stand more of a chance getting sicker if you're like this. No, they're just
Yeah.
wanting to push their agenda, which is basically at the end of it all, control, to control us all.
The overall health of people on this planet has declined. Obesity in many countries has just increased exponentially. I heard something about Mexico. There's like 73% of the people there are obese.
Mhm.
There's so many people here in the United States who, yeah, they were obese before,
Yeah,
but now
even worse.
they
So.
packed on the pounds.
Yeah.
It's just,
The human mind is not meant to go under these conditions that we've had to endure for the past couple of years. And nobody thinks anything of it. And if any doctors come on and talk about, certain things that the wigs don't want people to hear, then they get canceled, they get kicked out of Twitter. I mean, why do you think people are being silenced? Because they want to keep that hive mentality and they want to keep you in fear, you know? And I don't think it's anybody's business what you put or not put in your own body. That's why we have HIPAA laws. And then all these HIPAA laws have been broken dramatically with this event that's going on.
it's amazing though, because all of these companies are exempt from any kind of legal action being taken. It's like they force you to take something and they tell you to take it. And some states are even more, that's why we moved from the state that we were living in, because of the ramifications
Yeah.
of being a part of such a it's not liberal at this point.
No,
It's very
anything but
controlling,
control.
And so it's like you're told that you need to do this and that and everything, and it's like, how is that beneficial?
And then the thing is that the science is showing that you take these things that they're making you take and you take it, and the people that are doing everything as planned schedule are getting sick, very sick, and they're not allowing natural immunity to take place, and since the beginning of time, we developed natural immunity towards things, and that's how we would not be here if the ancestors would have had to have certain jabs and things. I mean, it wasn't the weak died and the strong survived. That's how species proliferate. That's how they multiply. They get rid of the weak ones and the strong ones survive. We are messing with nature. We're definitely messing with nature dramatically, but it seems that the weak ones are trying to control. And in the animal kingdom, it doesn't work that way. And we're animals, people. Might be a little sophisticated. We wear clothes and we walk around with titles and we think we're something great. But we're animals, And if you look at the animal kingdom, they have a different set of laws they follow, than we do. Crazy stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, I remember, when I was living in Washington and how in the middle of it all, I was, like working in Seattle and things. Stores were closed, places were shut down, and restaurants were boarded up, and you could only go through the drive-through. Or, I mean, the masks. It's just like, it's just like, wow, how ignorant can we be?
yeah.
To think that a cloth rag over your face is going to protect you.
Yeah.
When airborne viruses travel through eyes,
Your
travel
skin is your
through
biggest
your
organ.
skin. I mean,
Know?
and it's like,
But
yeah,
listen, hysteria is you know, the mind when placed in certain situations will malfunction and will become fearful of its own shadow. And what we're seeing this day and age, we're going to look back at this time and we're going to shake our heads and we're not going to believe what we've done to our children, you know.
Was it Cub 87? Good evening. I agree totally.
And the thing is, there's a lot of people that do agree, but those that don't agree are the loudest and are the ones that are like really creating a lot of the problems, which is pretty sad indeed.
Yeah, it really is because, I was encouraged to take a jab, a couple of
Well,
them, by a person who I trusted and felt they were looking out for me, at the time. And come to realize now that I didn't need to do that. I mean, I was told you should take it because, I don't want to get infected if you get infected. And, I've,
you had it. You had the
I,
natural immunity.
I know, but nothing was being said about that at
Oh, I
all.
mean, I could have told you.
You know.
Whenever you get anything natural, your body builds natural immunity.
And I took it, right? I got one of those the modern one, right?
Mm.
And the modern one made me so sick. Like the first day, I just felt like I did when I got sick earlier that year. And then I was told by the person who jabbed me the second time, because you had to do two. In April, I went back to do the second one, and he said, well, if you did have an adverse reaction to the first one, then you won't have an adverse reaction to this one. It's usually one or the other. And that was not the case. I got even worse. I literally was working in the town of Wenatchee one evening when I could not even make it back home. I was so zapped of energy that I had to find a motel, sweating profusely. I don't even know how they let me check in. I mean, I barely gave them my credit card, and got into my room and just fell into my bed and just, I mean, I was like wiped out, literally. And this is all because I got a second job of the same thing, you know?
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything and I won't get it because caught it last year and my body built immunity. I refuse to put something in my body that has not been totally tested. I mean, a true inoculation takes years to create. What they're doing with this stuff, I don't trust and
God only knows what
I'm not putting it in my body,
So what did they?
Let's see. He says, I'm going to a wedding in New York in February, and they're requiring proof of the V and to wear masks, etc. I get it, but I feel like this whole pandemic thing is diffies and enjoys occasion. It's being used to control people. This is the beginning of 1984, and people don't realize it. It starts off with something like this, and that way they have the total people because people allow this completely to continue and they won't like put a stop to it. We might as well kiss all of our freedoms goodbye. um, he goes, I didn't get the booster by choice. More people are getting sick after it, and that is true. I haven't gotten sick at all. I had it in February 2020, so I'm immune. Agreed. Yeah, when you get it naturally, your body, there's no better immunity against anything till you get it. You get it, naturally, your body now knows what to fight. This stuff that they're putting inside people, God only knows what it is, and more people are getting sick. And so I don't understand it. You get the stuff and you're getting sicker. So how can they demand something that is making people sick?
That YouTube couple that I'm talking about in Italy, they both got
And
the
they got
shots,
and the booster.
right?
And the booster. Yeah.
Well,
She did.
She did, and he's still thinking about going to get his booster.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's like they both look so terrible on
their
videos, because I mean this thing, yeah, it's real. It knocks you out. I mean, it does take you out. It's not like it doesn't exist. It does exist. It's just, what's happened is that using a situation like this
for total control,
not just, control here in the States,
worldwide,
but around the world. You watch any YouTubers out there, wherever they might be, and you will see a mask so many times,
If all this stuff was working, and we're going on 2 years in this, then why is it still getting stronger? Why are there like new strains coming up? What's people ought to ask themselves that. What is going on here? There's no reprieve in sight.
If a mask is truly a safeguard against getting anything, why did the nation's top guy, who was, speaking about the issue, initially very opposed to those things that go over your face?
Yeah.
And what happens to children who are not able to see emotion from other children or other adults, like school years that have been sacrificed, like last year, crazy things that have taken to like psychologically damage the population? We are all, in some way or another, we are all psychologically been damaged by what's taken place.
Yeah.
That's the greater tragedy.
And the thing is, no reprieve in sight. There's no reprieve in sight. It's just like they're coming up with new strains and this, and you definitely have to take this, and you have to, it's like, have we really thought how much we have lost our minds here? We're telling people that they need to take this inoculation, they need to wear all this stuff, but people are still getting ill. It continues to spread. By now, had we just allowed the thing to take its course, most of us would have been immune. The weak ones obviously wouldn't be here, but that's what happens to individuals that are weak. That's part of the species. That's part of the things that is supposed to happen.
And you know what the saddest thing, not the saddest thing, but one of the things that's taken place in the last year is this massive transfer of wealth from the middle class people to the rich, to the one percenters. There has been exponential growth in their portfolios and their overall income. The owner of Amazon became even more billionaire than he already was. People that already have millions more, but what's taken place is that there's a lot more homeless people now. There's a lot more poor, and people losing jobs. There's just, this massive transfer.
So,
yeah, the mask is BS. And the different types of masks, quote unquote. If there was one type that prevented infection, why is there no standard?
Because there's,
I'm not taking that Zombieland petri dish mess they created in a lab. I'm fine with supplementing and eating as healthy
and
as
that's
possible.
The key, building your immune system. That's how we have fought things throughout our lifetime as human beings.
Yeah.
We may get sick, our body builds immunity, we recover, and now we're stronger for it. I mean, this craziness of overusing antibiotics, our body don't even know how to fight infection. Constantly taking a pill for what ails us. Your body needs, like a muscle, when you go to the gym, you work out to get bigger, your body needs to be exposed to certain things so that you become stronger. They're taking that all away from us.
And, the massive use of Purell and other, cleaners like that are just actually creating more of a toxic environment for
You're going to
for
see
us.
5 years down the road, all the use of the Perel and antibacterial has now caused these superbugs. And I mean, we're going to have to live in a bubble, literally. And yes, Cube 87, totally agree. That's the tactic, eugenics completely. They want to decrease the population. I mean, the Georgia Guidestone says it loud and clear, and I mean, this is something that sci-fi movies are made of. What we're living in right now,
Yeah.
totally sci-fi movies,
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like, what greater way to cull the population than to have this take place
Mm-hmm.
and depose of the weaker.
Yeah.
Ones with weaker immune systems
Mm-hmm.
are being lost every day
Yeah.
to something that, they said one of the worst ways to treat anything is to let symptoms harbor. And one of the first things that they said to do last year was don't come in until you can't breathe anymore. And that just makes no sense. Once you get infected and sick, it shouldn't be, wait till you're on your deathbed to come to the doctor,
And then they're not finding a cure because the jab is not a cure. And they clearly tell you that it's not going to cure you. So, they need to find ways where people's immune systems get brought out because your own body is what heals you. Your doctor doesn't heal you. Medicine doesn't heal your own body. You need to stay out of its way, and let your body do what your body knows how to do
well,
best.
maybe that's the purpose of the jabs is to weaken the immune system.
Exactly. That's why, people that are jabbing are getting super sick. But oh no, that's like, they don't want that information.
We can't even talk about it. It's like it's misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of things that I think are misinformation that are being said that are true and that are not.
Yeah. It says they're supposed to be exposed to germs to build immunity.
Yeah, we're supposed to be able to, when I was a kid, kids played in the sand,
in the dirt.
They got dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids would, little kids would eat dirt, and it's like, it just made them stronger,
Build your gut bacteria. Right now, the way people are eating, they're destroying their gut bacteria. It just, I mean.
And with all the prescription medications that they're on, it literally does destroy your gut bacteria. So we have nothing fighting for you inside.
And we live in society of medicate, not preventative care like eating healthy and exercising. Exactly.
Why can't things be easier? Why can't things be more common sense? I don't understand it because our leadership could be saying, you know what? We need to use this as a call to action to encourage Americans to eat better, to eat real foods, and to take care of their immune system, and to do things that are going to create balance in their body and not imbalance. And they don't do anything to stop bad things from being sold. I mean, they
no.
It's like one of the biggest killers in this country is sugar, right? It's one of the most addictive substances known to man. And there's nothing being done to say, you know what, maybe America's love affair with sugar needs to stop. Maybe we need to get a national program to help people not be obese. Maybe, there's
they cared about your health, but they don't. They don't. This is a tactic to take away more of your freedoms. It's not even about the inoculation. It's not even about this thing that's going on. This thing that's going on, it's all a tool for the next step. But people aren't really aware of what they're doing and how they're treating one another, because the group that believes in inoculation are fighting against the group that doesn't. And that's exactly what they want. They want to pit us against each other and take away our freedom of speech and take away more of our rights. This is not going to end well. This is not going to end well at all. And,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, we were listening to Jordan Peterson recently, and he was talking about how the apps that track people who have had the V and everything, and how they could be in areas that are possibly dangerous for them or something. I don't know how it works out, but the whole like algorithm of the app itself is one that actually tracks you and knows where you are at every given moment. Isn't that more dangerous than it is to have the danger of being infected by anything? You know, the danger is in wantonly just giving governmental control of your whereabouts.
Isn't that how in
the
Germany back in the day things worked? You know, how they create all this fear tactic so that people say, oh, please, big government, help me, keep me away from danger, and giving away all your freedoms, all your rights. Tell me where I need to sign. What do I have to do? You know, and it's like, look, first of all, start taking care of your own health. Build your immune system. Stop freaking out over everything. You know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We have no control of the future, you know, but you can't keep your family and yourself sane, you know, and as healthy as you could possibly by trying to eliminate the foods that aren't good for you and trying to put the right things in as best as you can. Exercise, get sunlight, you know, not being around people and being afraid of everybody, you know, and not being able to see the expression of people, that's going to cause more depression, you know, more anxiety. I mean,
there's evidence that children born during this time are going to have issues.
Of course.
Neuropsychological, developmental issues. And we see, you know, so many people when we work around town and everything. And I am very concerned about our upcoming generation, you know, and just where their mental state is. I mean, some of these kids, it's like, just, I don't know, just the common humanity is lost. And it's like, you know, we were at for instance, we were at a KFC doing an order for one of the delivery companies, and it was a simple order, like two pieces of chicken and, you know, a meal or something and a Coke or something. And they were having a backlog at the restaurant. And you asked a question to.
I said, what's the problem here? We've been waiting. This order has been placed, and can you find out what's going on? And I had this blank look on her face, like does not compute. You know, couldn't handle being confronted, and was
like
just
the
like
coping skills.
Yeah, zero.
Aren't adequately there. It's like, and another instance was we were doing a Walmart pickup, and it was taking an awfully long time. And we spoke to one of the guys that was pulling things out and delivering it to people. And he just wasn't there.
Meltdown, complete meltdown.
Just wasn't there.
You know, I find that this generation does not have any coping skills, does not know how to problem solve. Everything is like a program, like a robot. You know, have a nice day. You know, they repeat things like slogans, like, you know, they don't know how to give proper change back if you like give them something different than what their little register tells them to do. There's no like ability to deal with a situation that's not programmed. And what's made human and survive
emotion. Yeah. Like, you know, oh my gosh, I don't know why you're waiting that long. Let me go check in the back and see what's taking, you know, if there's been some mix up or something. But the guy looked at you with this like blank stare,
like a zombie. When I looked in his eyes, it looked like a zombie, literally.
And he just went like, well, there's nothing I could do about it, but
Have a nice
day. I was like,
what just happened?
whoa, he just like turned into like another program.
Yeah.
It's like he went into like blue screen of death or something and just kind of like blanked out.
Yeah.
It's like,
really
does not compute. And it's like, where has humanity gone? You know, where we can't even be human anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we were just walking this morning and there was this older gentleman walking and Mark made some eye contact and it was a zombie though.
Yeah. Morning and it was just like a zombie. I'm like, and I've seen that look in the past 2 or 3 weeks in people's eyes, and it really worries me. I don't know how many of you saw the movie I Am Legend, and one of the scientists came up with a inoculation for the prevention of cancer. And if you've seen the movie I Am Legend, you know what happens there on afterwards. People turn into this like zombie type of things, and it's like I don't know what's inside those things that are putting into people, but I don't like it. I don't like it one bit, and it's scary.
Well, like I was telling you when we were driving this past week, I was like, I don't think it's what's inside. I think it's what it symbolizes at this point right now. That what it symbolizes is how far can they go to harness the public to make them kneel and do what they want them to do. You know, how far can they push it to make us compliant? You know, and so far, it's not going very well for the world. I mean, look what's happened in Australia.
Pretty sad.
We're not talking about this being Iran. This isn't some, you know, Islamic country. This isn't like the old Soviet Union. This isn't anything like this is Australia.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, you know, like people that are supposed to be like hip and cool California hippie types.
Look at what's happening in California.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, I mean, this is
yeah, it's scary.
But they just deported a European tennis star because he's not V'd, you know, and they felt that he was going to hurt them and maybe cause unrest.
Yeah.
Because country in Australia to be so passive and to be so, you know, okay, we'll do, we need it. I mean, when you listen to those people in Italy that we follow, they're like, and I'm gonna go get the booster, and I can't because I'm sick right now. And it's like
if you got the darn infection, why are you gonna? You're immune.
They want to be good little government servants and do what their government tells them.
Yep.
And of course, the algorithm won't hurt them because they're doing what the algorithm wants, what the big owners want. You know, they give them what they want.
Exactly. It's just, you know, it's crazy. And then all the weather conditions, you know, I mean,
tornado in Miami.
Yeah, we've had all sorts of weird stuff, devastating things never seen before happen all over Kentucky.
There's still a lot of never seen before.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes I feel like, okay, we're living in a sci-fi movie.
We were outside and we saw these lights, and I was like, oh, it's the
Phoenix Lights
Part 2.
Yeah, that's what I tell us that the next thing, and because I believe that we're pretty much desensitized, you know, from hearing so many. It's like every day you hear bad news, something bad happens, you know, a bunch of people are dying, all sorts of stuff. You get to the point that you're so used to hearing bad news and seeing bad things happen that it doesn't affect people anymore, you know. And I said to you, the next thing, we're going to have a UFO invasion. That's going to be the next one, you know. And I mean, I'm
still hoping the Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah, she thinks it's going to be like dinosaurs coming back. We might get both.
Because we live next to a mountain that it looks like it could be
Jurassic Park.
yeah, where dinosaurs could emerge,
Yeah,
pterodactyls flying in the air.
crazy stuff. But like you said earlier, I truly believe that this is all happening to wake us up as a species, to ground us, to, let us become grateful again, because I believe that people are just not grateful. They think that everything that they get is that they're owed it. They've earned it. They have the right to everything. All this materialism, and people are never grateful. They're never happy. Always want more and more and more. And we've lost our connection, our spirit connection. And if I learned anything, it's not about religion. It's not about calling yourself, a Christian or any denomination. It's about learning your life purpose, learning who you truly are. We all make mistakes. God knows I've made many. Um, and through our mistakes, we grow, we learn, we realize, you know, what we've done, how it's affected other people. The world is missing the factor of doing things not just for yourself, but for the benefit of your family and then the benefit of the community, at large. And I think that we will be humbled in our lifetime as we're seeing now the things take place that's going to allow us to realize many things. It's not a form of punishment because, the universe doesn't punish you. You you will be your own judge and you will feel the pain of the things that you've done in life. No one's going to sit there and stand on a throne judging you. You're going to judge yourself. And through everything that you encounter in this life, you will learn and understand. And I'm hoping that with every passing event that we face, that we get closer to enlightenment. We get closer to understanding why we are here. And it's not about building your bank account, buying a truckload of things, and seeking self gratification. You know.
I think one of the great disservices for people born like from 1960 on is to be given this false sense of reality, because prior to 1960s and stuff like that, it was a different world, and in the 60s going into the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, it just became like an entitlement thing for people in this country to have everything and anything that they wanted. I mean, movies like Wall Street came out, back in the 80s and stuff, and other things that would show how, if you stepped on enough people, you could get whatever you wanted, that we lived in this world that was like full of resources that were endless. When you realize that the components that make up a cell phone are part of someone's slave labor, and you realize that someone in a third world country has had to slave up a mountain to get some of the things that are part of what makes up a cell phone. Realize that, you know, clothing, those cheap stores that would sell clothes like and stuff, that it wasn't cheap just because it was cheap. It was cheap because slave labor, child labor made them in foreign countries that are thousands of miles away from us. But someone has to suffer for our indulgence, and we were taught to be so spoiled. And it's really sad because that was the reality that we were painted, and that we were kind of like groomed to think existed when the rest of the world didn't live like that. They were the ones suffering. And now we get a little bit of suffering here in this country. Like maybe you didn't get the toilet paper that you wanted, I mean, it's nothing compared to what has been happening
in other parts.
in
But
other
I
parts of
believe
the
we're going to
world.
get to experience a lot of things. I mean, it's like the frog that is in hot water but doesn't realize that the water is going to get to a boil, and when it realizes it's going to be too late. You know, we go to stores and do shopping for people and things like that, and ordering certain things are not getting what they want. Obviously, people aren't too happy. They're not getting their favorite brand of this and that and the other. But I just in China where there's going to be lack of the ships aren't going to be able to like bring the things, so people are going to start seeing more shortage in their supplies and things that they need, and it's like you know it's the water starting to boil, and we're going to really be faced with things that we never thought. I mean, we think this is bad. This is, to me, it's just an appetizer.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, people that just have very weak constitutions for any kind of adverse situation that may or may not come up, and it's sad because we see humans not evolved as well as they should be at this point in our development. You know, we should be further along.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Sad.
I think it's because we were given, many of us in the Western world, growing up from 60s through now, were given this false impression of what the world was and what it had and what it was capable of giving you. You were raised with the American dream here in this country. You were raised to think that if you worked hard enough, if you saved enough, that you could do whatever it was that you needed to do and you could have whatever it was you wanted to
And you
have.
think that you could avoid pain, and to live and to be a human is to feel pain, to be part of pain. And we think that everything needs to be perfect, and there's no such thing as perfection. And I think that is what, people are really grappling with, having a hard time with, is the fact that they're finding out that perfection doesn't exist, and that you live in this world, you're going to feel pain.
Right.
And, I think it's just the beginning. I think it's just part of the evolution of what needs to take place. Rome fell, and it was had a strong army, and had a strong system, financial. I mean, all the stuff that we're living right now is going to fall apart like a house of cards because it was not built on any good foundation. It hasn't been built on any good foundation. It's been built on greed, taking things from people, destroying things, so forth and so on. And the karmatic events that will take place is all part of what we've seen unfold throughout history. So, you know, and in the end, it's what we need to go through. It's just something we need to go through to evolve and grow and understand. So, anyway, it's an hour already, and we gotta go to bed soon, get up and do the thing that human beings do to pay their bills.
Get back out there.
Yeah, pay the bills.
Get back out into the big wide world.
Crazy world. It's scary. And being out in the streets is even more scary. People drive like maniacs. I think that when people get behind the wheel, they forget that they're holding one of the biggest weapons that you could hold, because you could take somebody's life like that if you're not paying attention. And I find that most people, the way they drive, they don't pay. Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you. And, really have been trying to stay away from YouTube, and I make little short videos every now and then because I'm a talker. I'm the type of, I've had a channel since 2006. This has always been my platform to express whether my music or saying things that I agree with or am passionate about at the moment. I know that I've gone all over the place, but that's part of being human and growing and evolving and, you know, living life, which is not static and it's not easy. It's painful, very painful. But you know, that's the only way you go. You don't build muscle unless you tear it up.
You've torn it up pretty good.
I'm also getting a belly, but hey, you know, it's I'm almost 58, so
Oh, you're not 58?
almost.
Because usually when it's your year
Yeah,
to be a
no.
certain age,
Yeah, I'm kind of like
you call yourself that.
Yeah, but now I'm saying almost.
You're almost
Yeah,
58.
because you know.
I'm almost not 58.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you. Thank you. Somewhere between and Cub 87 for joining us this evening. We might do this a little more often, maybe on Sundays. I don't know. We'll see. We just, like I said, sometimes I just don't feel like going on because it's like you feel like you're being muzzled and you can't say, and if you say stuff, then you're like, ah, you know, it's just crazy, really crazy.
And I just stopped doing videos at all, like on my own, because I just realized that there's more damage that comes about when one shares one's life than is worth, because the negatives are, you know, so great.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can take place that you can meet the wrong people online. You can, find all kinds of problems online, just by being there.
Yeah.
And I certainly have had my share of that. So I carefully wander onto YouTube at this point because there's so many places where it's just not safe, and online is an unsafe place
It's
to
crazy.
be.
Crazier by the minute. Crazier.
So people wonder, oh, why don't you make videos anymore? It's like, well, I really don't want to share anything about my life, because anytime I've had interactions like that, it hasn't been good. Hasn't been good.
Because we don't have time. We work a lot, we really do.
And we're a couple, so making videos alone, you've got your things that you do, like when you have some.
I do
Something
3-minute
longer.
videos, like
Yeah.
once or twice a
Right.
week. It's saying some spiritual stuff.
Right.
It's never talking about
Right. You never really
talk about me or
you.
anything like that. It's just spiritual stuff that I like to share or say, and that's about it. And they're 3-minute videos, 3-4 minute videos, shorts.
Yeah, it's like I've never done a 3-minute video.
Yeah,
What's a 3-minute video?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. It's like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's just little shorts.
No, I know. You did a good job.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and hope you guys stay safe. Don't lose your autonomy. Don't live in fear, because fear and love can't be in the same space. Energies that are opposing. Um, hold on to your loved ones, your family, your friends. You know, don't fight with people over stupid stuff, and take care of yourselves and each other. Because it's important. So I always said, love yourselves. Love yourselves with all your heart. But in loving yourself, not a selfish love, but a love that overpours so that you can love others and not just think of yourself, but think of those around you. Every step you make, let it be a step that's going to not be for selfish reasons, but for things that's going to help your family and your community. Because in the end, that's all we got. Because when you do things just for yourself, self-serving, that doesn't give you a lot of joy. It may appear to temporarily, but in the long run, you'll find out otherwise. All right, guys. Catch you guys later. Love you. but remember to always love yourselves too. Bye bye.